Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Brown Bears Sports Report. I'm your host, Scott Cordischi. Glad you could join us. Our Brown Bears Sports Report brought to you each week by Elite Physical Therapy. It's the premier choice for physical therapy in Rhode Island. Elite Physical Therapy is staffed by a team of highly trained and talented physical therapists who specialize in treating back and neck pain, sports injuries, and surgical rehabilitation. It's your choice where to go. Well, it gives me great pleasure this week to welcome to the Brown Bears Sports Report from our men's water polo program, their head coach, Felix Mercado. Coach, how are you today?
I'm good, Scott. Thank you so much for having us.
Well, it's great to talk to you and great to see you again, Coach. And with us on the show, you brought junior goalkeeper Ugo Piovan. Am I pronouncing that right, Ugo?
It's actually Piovan.
Piovan. Yeah. Ugo Piovan. I apologize. Well, Ugo, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the invite. Thank you.
Cole Atwell is a sophomore attacker from San Diego, California. Cole, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being with us. And we also have a freshman from Ventura, California, Evan Moore. Evan, how are you today?
Doing great. Thank you.
Great to see all of you. And Felix, we'll bring it back to you. Unfortunately, no season for you. And of course, no fall sports in the Ivy League this year. How have you been dealing with things this fall? I know there was a time when you could get your team together in small groups to get some workouts in, either, in the weight room or what have you. But how have you been dealing with no fall season?
I'll be honest, it still hasn't really hit me. I think that once we're back on campus in January and everyone's there, it'll be more real, right? There's just so many things going on right now in the world that it's very difficult to be too selfish. I'm super, disappointed for the seniors who aren't going to get an opportunity to play their one last season at Brown. I know that, we were able to do some stuff in the fall. Our pool actually was not up and running. We had some issues with the pool. So most of the stuff that we did in the fall was weight room and some dryland and some yoga stuff, which, hindsighted, I'm glad that we had an opportunity to get together. I think for the most part, the guys did a really good job of taking advantage of their time together. Like I said, I think that once January rolls around and, we're getting, we'll have our incredible incoming freshman class on campus with everyone else, that it'll be more of an opportunity to sit back and reflect on what we missed out on and what great, I think this team this year would have done some really good things.
Yeah, you had a pretty good year last year, as you recall. 22 wins. You finished the season ranked 19th. You mentioned a talented incoming freshman class and obviously talented returners like Cole and Ugo. So I don't know what your expectations were for this season, but I would agree with you. I think if there were a season, your team probably would have been pretty darn good this year.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's probably the hardest thing to deal with. But like I said, I think that we put things in perspective, and while we weren't surprised, we were still a little shocked, that. But again, now I've kind of already put that behind me, and my goal is, when we show up in the spring, is to prepare for the fall of 2021.
Ugo, I know you're from Greece. Have you been here in Providence on campus first trimester?
Yes. That was one of the reasons why. I really wanted to come back to Providence is in case we had the season, and I didn't want to miss the opportunity to play here. I've been staying here in Providence for the whole semester.
Well, you've had a nice first 2 years as part of this program. You've started right away as a freshman and sophomore. Just talk a little bit about your experience being a member of this Brown water polo team your first couple of years when you guys were playing.
Well, yeah, to be honest, was one of the most incredible experiences, I think, in my life, because coming from Greece, I was presented with this a completely different world suddenly about playing water polo and studying in the US, and hopefully Coach Felix was there to guide me. But I really do miss our games, the competitive nature, and traveling. That's also something I miss a lot. And for me, it has forced me to reflect on our future season, if that will happen. So that means I really want to get back in the water with the teammates. Yeah.
Sure. Cole, a sensational freshman year for you. You were the Northeast Water Polo Conference Rookie of the Year, 53 goals, second on the team, 24 steals, second on the team. When you look back at your freshman season, just tell us, how do you think it went for you? Because on paper, it seems to have gone very, very well.
It was definitely really good, a different experience than something I've been used to playing water polo before. I think we had a really special year last year with a lot of really good seniors and a really good team camaraderie environment that we had on the team, which just allowed me to capitalize on opportunities. So I was super grateful for them for leading me through it, showing me the way, and I was able to kind of find my space on the team.
Cole, your sister played for Felix in the Brown women's water polo program. In fact, she just graduated this past spring, did she not?
Yeah, she did.
So was her presence here, was that kind of your introduction to Brown? And you know, what made you decide to come to Brown University?
Definitely she played a big factor in it. I've gone and visited her a few times when she was a freshman, sophomore, junior. So I got to know the kind of environment that Brown had. And then when I came to visit my junior year, it's just I got to see the team and everyone's so close, and it was just super special for me to see. And I knew that I needed to be here.
Evan, unfortunately, no freshmen on campus for the first trimester because of the pandemic, but hopefully you and the rest of the freshman class will be here after winter break. I'm just curious, how have things gone for you at home out in Ventura, California this fall? And what have you been doing to, kind of stay in shape, so to speak?
Everything's been pretty good out here. Definitely super bummed I couldn't go out this semester. But to stay in shape, I've just been running and lifting as much as I can.
And all of the freshmen were allowed to take one online class. Did you take advantage of that? And if so, what class did you take?
Yeah, I did. And I took computer science too.
And how did that go?
Good, really good. I really enjoyed the class. It was great. I learned a lot, and I'm excited to keep learning more about computer science.
And how much are you looking forward to finally getting on campus here in Providence?
Oh, I am so excited to get there and just play with the team. And I'm very excited to get there.
Felix, when your men's water polo program last played, you guys won an exciting game against St. Francis of Brooklyn in the third place game of the NWPC championship. What do you remember about that?
Well, I remember I almost cost us the game. We're actually up by a goal with like 7 or 8 seconds left, and I ran a play and I didn't. There was a referee didn't call something that I thought should have been like a foul, and I threw the air horn down, and it went off. And in the game is like, if that's calling a timeout without having possession of the ball, so they awarded the other team a penalty shot, and they ended up tying the game, and we ended up winning in like quadruple sudden victory overtime, which obviously made it more memorable. But I do think about how I almost cost us the seniors an opportunity to go out with a win, but I also gave one of my favorite players of all time, Armin Domingian, an opportunity to leave a hero. So it was a crazy game. It was a crazy game.
Ugo, you talked about joining this Brown program and coming to the United States and what a different experience it was going to be for you and how much you've enjoyed it so far. You won a gold at the World Championships in 2018 for the Greek junior national team. What was that whole experience like for you?
Yeah, it was quite a while ago, but at the same time, it's an experience and a moment I will never forget, especially because it's different playing with your club and playing with the national team. So that means representing your country. It's there are feelings that can never be repeated. But yeah, I still remember how we came in as underdogs, I would say, because nobody expected us to arrive this far. We won a shocking game against Hungary in our first game, and suddenly everybody was looking at us differently. But yeah, and then we played for the final against Spain. Yeah, that was a crazy game. it was an exhausting game, but again, when you're playing at such high level, you're not really thinking of tiredness and sore muscles and all of that. But yeah, it's I really want to experience something similar in the next year.
I have to ask you this question. As a goalkeeper, what is the skill set that you need to be a great goalkeeper in the sport of water polo? And I ask that question because honestly, sometimes do you just have to guess right when when somebody's loading up to shoot it on goal? I mean, what's going through your mind? How do you play it? I mean, what skill set do you need to be a goalkeeper in the sport of water polo?
Well, obviously, I would say the most important thing is obviously very powerful legs and resilience in your legs. So that means you should never get tired, and that comes from practice and constantly repeating the same movements. But at the same time, there's also an element of what comes in as thinking, as intelligence, because a goalie needs to be able to, I wouldn't say guess, but predict correctly where the play will evolve next. So that could mean sort of going to the side where the penalty will happen, or some of that. Yeah, and that comes from knowing the players. Like if someone could argue that by studying the players and how they tend to shoot, that's something that helps, especially in higher level of water polo. But yeah, and a final one would be definitely patience, right? Because being a goalkeeper, you're always within yourself, so you have to be always focused and not lose track of the game.
And great reflexes too, I'm sure, right? Or quick ones. Cole, for you, you played in high school for your dad in La Jolla. What was that experience like?
It was definitely really special. He was really hard on me. He made sure that I was always giving my best effort, and there was definitely no slacking off. So definitely helped me to be training all the time and getting better all the time.
And so, how long have you been playing the sport of water polo? How old were you when you took up the sport?
He's been coaching since way before I was born. So I mean, I've been on the pool deck since I can remember, swimming, same time I was learning to walk. So that's pretty much coincide with each other.
Evan, obviously, it's a very popular sport in the state of California, correct?
Yes.
And so I would imagine you've been playing the sport of water polo for many years as well. When did you get introduced to it first?
Yeah, so I think my first introduction to water polo was when I was like 11 or 12, I think, at the end of middle school. But yeah.
And so talk to us a little bit about your decision to choose Brown University. Who else was recruiting you? What other schools? And what made Brown the right choice for you?
So a couple other schools were recruiting me, a couple other Ivies, and then some UCs. And ultimately, I ended up choosing Brown because the open curriculum, that was a huge plus for me. And the academic excellence, of course, and just the opportunities that come with Brown.
Felix, I'm just curious, when you're out on the recruiting trail, and I know recruiting's been different with the pandemic, it's all been virtual, but where are the hotbeds? Obviously, the state of California being one of them, but where are the hotbeds for water polo in terms of where it's played at the high school level?
I think recently the last 5-6 years has kind of been a more it's been growing in our country. It's actually one of the fastest growing sports at the high school level. Obviously, California goes without saying is an important place, but I'll go to Florida, Texas, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, even in Connecticut. There's some great water polo players. Obviously, internationally with Ugo, and we actually all have another one of our incoming freshmen who's from Serbia, even though he played his last couple of years in high school in St. Louis. So I think that for us being such a unique place in a unique school, I tend to kind of focus on who's interested in us. And just like Evan said, the open curriculum is such a unique thing that it makes my job easier. I'm not really competing in against other schools in many ways, just because we're so different. that you have to kind of be looking for this niche. And I'm very happy that I'm at a school like Brown that it provides this difference, because it does attract a different type of a student athlete. And I think that every member of my team currently and who's graduated, our alums, all have that special connection because of Brown. And I don't think you could say that about many other places.
Well, you've done a terrific job running our men's and women's water polo programs. Now in your 14th year here at Brown, and you came to us from MIT, if I'm not mistaken. Before that, you were coaching at the high school level down in Miami?
Yes, I coached at Ransom Everglades for 11 years before I coached MIT for 3 years, and then I was able to get this opportunity at Brown 14 years ago. I cannot believe it's been that long, and it's I feel like I haven't been any other place but Brown. That's how special and connected I am with the university.
Well, Ugo, the one thing I love about your head coach, Coach Mercado, is he genuinely cares, I think, about everybody he comes into contact with. And I say that, and I don't just mean you guys, the student athletes. Felix is just a good person. And I think, no matter what he does, he puts a lot of thought into it. And I'm sure as student athletes that play for him and are with him every day, you guys see that and feel that as well.
Yes, I am absolutely. I would totally agree with that. And also to be honest, the first thing I was noticing when I got in contact with Coach Felix when I was back in Greece was exactly that, his amazing qualities as a person, first of all. So that would mean like how much he cares about me personally, because I was getting to know him, and for the team. And I think we can really see that in our everyday practices, on the way he approaches the learning and the opportunities he gives to each one of us, and also the level of I would say commitment. So that means he's very committed, so that every one of us in the end not only becomes a better water polo player, but also a better human being, I would say. Yeah.
Cole, I asked you about your sister Lexi earlier. I'm curious, what is she doing now that she's graduated from Brown?
She's back at home for a little bit and is actually moving within the next month to New York, and is going to be working there for a little bit. So she'll be leaving us for a while, but I'm excited for her.
I mean, obviously not an easy time to graduate, right? And hit the ground running in the working world because of the pandemic, but that's great to hear she has a job in New York.
Yeah, definitely awesome.
That's awesome. Evan, so we talked earlier about, you taking that one online class this first trimester. What do you plan on concentrating on here at Brown, and tell us why you've chosen this concentration?
So I initially applied as environmental engineering, and then later on, I just started getting into computer science on my own, and it just really sparked an interest in me. So I think I'm leaning towards computer science applied math.
Okay. And what would you like to do with that? How would you like to apply that?
I would love to either work at a big tech company or start my own.
Ugo, you are an engineering concentrator, are you not?
Yeah, that's correct. I think I've known pretty much all of my life that I want to do something related with maths, physics, that sort, but I really didn't know why and what specific type of engineering. And that was, I think I really discovered that during Brown, because I was able to take many different engineering classes from different subfields within engineering. Mm-hmm. So now I think I'm leaning towards doing something with aerodynamics. Something like that.
Cole, how about you? Have you decided on a concentration?
I'm still undeclared at this moment, but I'm most likely going to be majoring in business econ, and then hopefully out of college work in something with commercial real estate.
Okay. It says you hail from La Jolla, and I have to tell you, I visited La Jolla a couple of years ago with the men's basketball team at Brown. They played at San Diego State. I don't know if you happened to go to that game over winter break, but they beat them pretty good, and we actually stayed in La Jolla during that trip.
Yeah, La Jolla is an awesome place, and I've definitely been to a lot of San Diego State games. My dad's an alumni from there, so we've been fans our whole life.
So I'm curious, Cole, with the open curriculum, I know it's only been a year plus since you've been here at Brown, but have you taken any classes that, while they might not be related to what you want to do concentration wise, that you said, you know what, this interests me, and because I can take it, I'm going to give it a shot?
Most definitely. That's one of the best things about Brown. I can remember, I think it was either my freshman fall or spring, but I took a class I was really interested in called Computers and Music. And it was all about how to make music based on different programs on computers. And it was actually super awesome to see and be able to work with hands-on. So I was really interested in it, and I really enjoyed that class.
That sounds really cool. Evan, I'm just curious, obviously during the pandemic, we've all had maybe a little bit more free time than we'd prefer. What is some of your hobbies? When you're not practicing your sport or you're not dealing with academics, what do you like to do with your free time?
I love to get outside. Like, I love hiking, biking, or when the waves are good, I love to go surf. But I'm definitely an outdoors person.
That's great. Have you ever been to the East Coast?
Yeah, I came and visited. I've been twice. Definitely going to be a whole culture shock, but yeah.
Well, since you're showing up here in January, make sure you bring a winter jacket, gloves, hat, all that stuff, right? You don't need that in California, but you might need it here.
Yeah, definitely.
Ugo, same thing for you, right? You don't need a winter jacket in Greece, but you certainly need one in Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. I learned that the hard way. I think in my freshman fall. Yeah, I still remember one of the first big rains on campus, and I realized I had not brought an umbrella or scarf or gloves with me. So then I remember that likely yeah, we got a parka from the team gear, so that saved me.
I'm curious, Ugo, how is your native Greece doing with the pandemic? I would imagine you're in constant touch with your family. I certainly hope that they're healthy and safe, but how's Greece doing with the pandemic?
Thank you very much for the concern. Yeah, I would say that that before, yeah, I would definitely say that Greece handled the situation very well, especially before summer. Before summer, yeah, we were doing very, very good. But then during the summer vacations, the industry had to open a bit, and the tourism. Now, however, the nation is on a second lockdown, so things I would say are not great, but we are definitely working towards the better. I would say, yeah.
Now, Felix, help me out here. I know freshmen were not allowed on campus first trimester just because, the university was trying to be responsible and spacing everyone out due to the pandemic. What will be the rules that govern the next trimester after winter break?
Well, we're hoping for the summer session to be like our typical off season with them. I mean, they're still, I think the IVs are still, I think we have to cross the T's and dot our I's with the compliance end of things. But I'm hoping, and I think that there's, I'm expecting us to be able to do 6 hours a week, continue staying in the weight room and giving them an opportunity to do something, because it's not their fault that they have to be here for the summer. It's not like summer school. So I'm hoping that and them missing the first semester allows us to do that. But whatever we're allowed to do, like I said, we're not. I'm not going to stress out one way or the other. Once we figure that out, we'll plan accordingly and move forward with making sure that they're ready for the fall.
And will all classes be allowed on campus next trimester, or is there a class during the second trimester that will be excluded from coming on campus?
Right now, they would like to have everybody back on campus. The sophomore class is on a TBD type of deal. That there's going to be a wait list, because I think they're trying to stay with their no one sharing rooms. Right now, every sophomore that was on campus in the fall is guaranteed. I think they were given the approval to be back on campus. And then anyone that went remote or took a semester off, they were put on a waiting list. So, look, I'm hoping that we get everybody on campus. That's the plan. I know that's what the president of the school wants. And then once that happens, we'll take it from there and make sure that they're enjoying their opportunities. I actually think what Brown did, especially for the freshman class, is great. the fact that they knew that the fall was going to be a mess, and why bring all these 18-year-olds on the campus with not knowing how we're going to manage it. But now I think Brown has a understanding how the testing's going to work, how they're providing with the all our students with the right guidelines to follow. And I think for the most part, our athletes, I think our students in general were pretty responsible. And we had a good semester. Towards the end, there was no exception for us. We got hit with a little bit of a run with more cases than we had earlier. But I have a feeling that Brown has everything in place to do the best they can. And I think the freshmen are going to have an incredible experience, a little bit colder than probably. And then, they're going to be on campus for 4 straight semesters also. That's one
Right.
thing that it's, I don't know if it's going to hit them yet, at least on the men's side, I think they might have a week off before we start our training in the fall. So I have to take that into account, making sure that I don't, destroy them and ruin their experience, because it's going to be a long 4 semesters. But look, Evan, bring your surfboard, because you could always surf in the summer. There's one thing that you can do in Rhode Island, and we're fortunate that when the weather's nice, you can do everything in Rhode Island that you can do in California.
That's true. Evan, one of our strength coaches, Mike Pimentel's a big surfer, and Narragansett Town Beach has some pretty good waves. So yeah, you can bring that surfboard, out east with you.
Yeah, great.
So Cole, were you on campus this past semester?
I was.
And, I couldn't agree more with what Coach said about the way that Brown University handled the pandemic in terms of the testing and dotting the I's and crossing the T's. And I give you guys, the Brown students, not just student athletes, the entire Brown student body, a ton of credit for, I think, handling it in a very responsible manner. If you look at our rate of positivity and you compare it to, for instance, the state of Rhode Island or what's going on nationally, I think Brown did a magnificent job. And I'm sure it was tough having to get tested twice a week and, filling out the stuff on Verily and all that stuff, but it certainly proved to work. It was effective.
Yes, definitely. I think you're exactly right. I think Brown handled it really well in what they offered us and what they gave, the resources to us that we had. And then I think that all the kids were very responsible in how they went about their student life. And I know it wasn't easy for anyone, including me. And it was definitely just something different, and I had to adjust to filling out things on Verily every morning and fitting in testing twice a week. But I think everyone kind of adapted to it and did their best to make it work, and I think it showed.
So Ugo, between, learning remotely at times and not, having practice or not having, water polo matches to take part in, that meant a lot more free time for you this semester. What did you do with some of that downtime?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, initially I really struggled to find like a good balance between everything, because I'm used to, or at least I try to keep myself busy, and in that way the practices really help, either in on-season or off-season. But now, especially in the beginning where we didn't really practice, I was really struggling to find like a new way to keep myself focused, because during these times everything could be done by sitting in front of a screen, right? So yeah, like I think it was Evan who said that about going outside. So that's something I really got used to. So I would take these walks either with my pod or by myself, or take a ride with the bike. Yeah, really enjoy nature, refresh.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. Evan, I'm just curious, what's your favorite food? I asked that question because I'm going to have Ugo and Cole recommend places on Thayer Street for you to go for it.
That's definitely difficult, but I got 2: sushi and Mexican food.
Okay, Ugo, Cole, who wants to tackle this one? Where should he go for sushi? Where should he go for Mexican food?
Cole, you can go first.
I'm pretty sure the only sushi place I know near Thayer Street would be Sakura. I'm not sure if that's the correct name. I think I've been there once or twice maybe, but it's the best sushi that I've had on the East Coast so far. And then I'll let Ugo actually answer the Mexican food because I'm curious what his answer would be too.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if my answer will satisfy the Mexican population, but I would either say like either Bajas or Chipotle. I mean I know like Chipotle is not considered like a Mexican.
Well, Baja was a good recommendation. I think that's great.
Yeah, that's why I said it last.
I'll tell you right now, I don't think you come to Providence to have sushi and Mexican food. You know, I think if there's one thing that you're gonna be able to do is explore a lot of different types of food. I mean, I think that's what Providence and is kind of known for a while. Like I said, I love Mexican food, but it's not the same out on the East Coast as it is in California. And I love sushi, and there's some places. I think it's different. We'll see what survives through the pandemic. I know there's a new sushi place opening up next to Chinatown. That's opening up that hasn't opened up yet. So there'll be some place. But trust me, if you're selling on sushi and Mexican food in Providence, you got a problem.
Well, I think Haruki's a sushi place on the east side, and then I think East Side Market too. If you just want to grab it and bring it back to your room, right?
Yeah.
So Evan, you got a lot of choices. The bottom line, but Coach Mercado is right. I mean, Providence has just about everything. There's a lot of great steakhouses, but Providence is known for Federal Hill too, which has a bunch of great Italian restaurants. So Evan, I don't know if you like Italian food, but if you do, there may be no better city in the United States for Italian food than Providence.
That's great. I love Italian food, so
Good. Well, you'll get to sample some here. Well, guys, look, it's great to catch up with all of you and talk a little water polo, talk about what's going on in your lives during the pandemic. We certainly miss seeing you all in the pool this fall, but we look forward to hopefully next fall, your season commencing. And thank you all for joining us. Felix, thank you.
Thank you so much, Scott. And like I said, thank you so much for allowing us to reflect and look forward to the future.
Ugo, great stuff. Thanks as always for being with us.
Thank you for the opportunity, Scott. Thank you.
Cole, thank you for being with us from out in San Diego.
Thank you for having me.
And Evan, thank you for joining us from Ventura. We look forward to seeing you in the month of January.
Thank you.
All right, that's the Brown Men's Water Polo program here on this week's edition of the Brown Bears Sports Report.
This has been a presentation of Learfield IMG College.